Yo everybody, what's cracking? So I want to make a video today to explain my change of tactics recently. It is not something that has come about through lack of critical thought. This has been a very conscious shift in my advocacy for the animal rights movement and to end the animal holocaust. I want to explain why I've gotten to this point. I want to explain the reasons for why I think it's effective, and I want to encourage people to add this tool to their toolbox, because this isn't a replacement of my old strategy, which was very effective, helped a lot of people understand why they should be vegan and help them become vegan. It helped a lot of vegans become activists and find their voice in speaking for the victims of the animal holocaust. But it's not enough. We should be using whatever approach we can, whatever we find has some good effect. And what I have come to realize is that my old approach is good, but there's more that can be done. Obviously there's more that can be done, but I mean, in terms of advocacy and speaking about this, something that I had neglected to do because I felt it was good strategy not to, was to shame people, to criticize people for not becoming vegan. And now I am of the opinion that it is actually a very important and very effective tactic. Let me explain why and how I got to this point. So let me start by saying that some people have been following my journey for 8 years. Every post, I post nearly every single day. Every post, every caption, every video, some people who I know, who are friends or even not immediate but family, have read and seen it all. They're still not vegan. Clearly my approach wasn't enough after 8 years, and it got to a point where I have lost patience with that. I only have a certain amount of patience. I'm a very patient person generally. Now I'm just tired of that bullshit. People have not taken it seriously enough from the approach that I have done. Some people haven't taken it seriously enough. For some, it's been fine. For the people who have already changed, cool. Obviously, the approach that I was doing works. For the people who haven't changed, more needs to be done. So what was missing? They felt no urgency, pressure, or shame for their actions. Now I tried to make people see the urgency, but clearly it wasn't enough. Or maybe they saw it, but they just didn't care enough. They liked eating cheese too much. They were too addicted to flesh. That's where the pressure and the shame becomes effective. People need to be called animal abusers. They are paying people to rape, torture, mutilate, and murder sentient beings for products that they don't need. They should be ashamed of that. You know, people should be encouraged to a point, but after a while, it's like, okay, I've told you, I've been vegan for 8 years and I'm in your life. You can see I'm healthy. You can see what I eat is delicious. You have access to the same foods as I do. At what point are you just actually so lazy that you're being a piece of shit? That's just true. If you're still funding those things, how else do you say it? You know, ignorance is fair enough, but when you're no longer ignorant and you still choose to buy these things, your behavior is disgusting. It's very wrong. And there's something wrong with you if you don't see that. So how do we make you see it if just the general facts and figures, the don't blame and shame, inform and explain approach isn't working? You need to be shamed. You need to be called what you are, an animal abuser. You need someone to tell you how disgusting it is and how sick your behavior is. And yeah, basically that's it. And this makes people feel more desperate, more urgency to change, especially when it comes from somebody who they know, who they maybe love, who they're friends with. People, after a while, they can't use the excuse anymore. Oh yeah, I'm just, still baby stepping after 8 years. Come on now. So how I got to this point, I want to thank my haters. I got quite a few over the years. There's a lot of bullshit rumors and lies that go around about me, and it's frustrating, and I don't respond to all of them, obviously, but whatever, it is what it is. So I have a pretty dedicated group of haters out there. They have pushed me to a point where I no longer care about the opinions of others, to a point, because I can see that no matter what I do and say, and no matter what kind of person I am, they will always perceive me in a certain way that will be negative. Certain people will just do this no matter what. No matter what kind of person you are, you will have haters if you are putting yourself out there. And I always cared somewhat what people thought of me, That's why I didn't use the term slavery, Holocaust, rape very often. I knew they were effective, so I used them occasionally, but I didn't want to offend too many people. And a lot of vegans would get offended with me when I use these words, and I just didn't want that. I didn't want to be under that kind of spotlight of everybody throwing their criticisms at me. I was dealing with enough shit, so I tried to just sort of do things in a chill and effective way. And I want to thank them because they've pushed me to a point where I've had to really just analyze who I am and analyze my actions and, know who I am. And people's opinions of me don't change that now. Where before I was a little less of a solid foundation of who am I, what kind of person I am, etc., etc. So I've become so much stronger and more confident in myself. And yeah, I thank them for that very, very much. This has led me to go with my own beliefs on these certain approaches, these certain words, these certain tactics, which I have been doing from the beginning. When I was planning to do my vow of silence, a lot of vegans told me, don't do a vow of silence, animals need your voice. And I was like, I think it's a good idea. I did it. I reached millions and millions of people, and I've reached millions and millions more since. So it's good to not always listen to your critics, obviously. Listen to yourself, listen to your heart, listen to some criticism, especially constructive criticism, if it comes from the right place. But just remember, a lot of people don't know you, they don't know your journey, they don't know what you know, and that's that. What do I know? I've been doing this for 8 years. I am in debates constantly every single day and have been that entire time. I've posted almost every single day about this topic and written it in countless different ways, done many videos, done hundreds of speeches, received thousands of DMs, thousands of messages, responded to, I've read who knows how many comments, all of them. All of the comments I've ever received, I've almost read. I have analyzed this situation thoroughly. I think about it all day long. I'm thinking about this shit. And it's got to the point where after a while, people think that people are looking at my approach now where I'm being more shaming of people's, and they're saying, James, you used to do it like this, you used to do it like that. What happened? They think that I've burned out from documenting slaughter and from, being frustrated. This isn't coming from a place of, well, it is coming from a place of frustration in a way, but it's controlled. It is more coming from a place of logic, I believe, in that I believe this is an effective and important approach. And it's not that I'm burned out. I'm feeling more happy, more peaceful, more joyful than I've literally ever been in my life. I'm healthier than I've ever been in my life. I feel amazing. But I have less patience than ever for animal abusers who are not ignorant. They're just choosing, I just haven't been bothered to go vegan yet. No, that's wrong. There should be a top priority to stop funding torture and murder, right? So yeah, I need to make that more clear. That's why my advocacy has changed. It is in addition, not in replacement of my old advocacy. All of this analyzing of this movement, this situation, the feedback I get, etc. It has helped me cut through my own speciesism. We all have speciesism. We are born in a culture that is built on speciesism. And over the years, maybe when you go vegan, you get through a lot of it, but there's still some in us where, if I see someone hunting a dog, I would run over and do whatever I had to do. Sometimes when I see people fishing, I do the same, but sometimes I don't say anything because, that's my speciesism, I suppose. And sometimes, like animal exploitation and the products of the animal holocaust are everywhere. You can't pick every single fight, every single battle, otherwise that's all you'll do. Every piece of meat you see somebody eating, you do what you can do and you be practical and you have to live your life, whatever. But it has made me analyze my speciesism. And this was something that happened to me a few months or so ago where I really just woke up and realized how sick it is to fund a Holocaust, how sick it is to eat the corpses of murder victims, how sick society is especially when these people are generally intelligent, logical people. They're brainwashed, they're conditioned, they're like zombies, flesh-eating zombies, not thinking clearly at all. Or they're thinking clearly and they're too lazy, and that is just as bad, basically, if not worse. So it has made me address my speciesism in the way that if this was a human Holocaust, how would I fight? Would I fight how I used to fight? No, I would add this tactic. The people who don't know better, I would encourage, I would support, I would explain and educate. The people who already know better, I would be shaming them at this point. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you not vegan? It is disgusting that you are still supporting this. Shame on you. And that forces the urgency in people a little bit. It adds pressure to them. It makes them feel ashamed, and this guilt that they don't feel from my old approach, some people, leads them to change. I was always worried about being the vegan that people got offended by, and that would make them not go vegan. But it is not our fault if people choose not to go vegan. Don't let them don't let them stop you from being strong and honest, because all it is a more pure version of honesty. Don't let them stop you from being honest by saying, oh, a vegan was mad at me, so that's why I didn't go vegan. That is bullshit. It is a shit excuse. It's garbage. It's crazy. And people who do that are just being disingenuous. They're not being honest with themselves as to why they're not being vegan. It's not because, well, one vegan upset me. It's because you're lazy, or because you don't care, or because there's something wrong with you. And that's their problem, not the people who are standing up for the victims' problem. You don't need to sugarcoat it. In fact, you shouldn't. You should be as honest as possible. Cut through the bullshit, call out animal abuse when you see it, and call out animal abusers when you see them. Non-vegans, that's what they are. Obviously, there's many methods. I'm just saying this is in addition, it is effective, it is powerful. If I look at my comments section, I can see a lot more conversation happening from this. If all this does is provoke and spark more conversation, and then the conversation happens, and the logic and the truth behind veganism, which is an irrefutable argument, makes people see how ridiculous, hypocritical, violent their opinion is, this all leads to change, and other people read these conversations, even if people are just battling and being ridiculous with you in their excuses, this all leads to change for the people who are reading. It is the conversation that needs to happen. If this was humans, we would fight differently. I would fight differently. And I'm closer to fighting for the non-human earthlings the way that they deserve than I've ever been before. They still deserve so much more from all of us. We're all doing what we can do, whatever, but I'm just saying, I feel much more closely aligned with the activists that I want to be. One that is saying how it needs to be said, and instead of worrying about offending people. I feel much better about this. And I think it will lead to a lot more people influenced, actually. And I've already seen that. I've seen a lot of people going vegan from this approach in my inbox lately. Thanks for showing me the brutal truth. Thanks for saying it how it really is. And I want to encourage other vegans to do the same and see what happens. And, be ready that some people won't like it, but I don't really care. I'd rather speak up for the victims than I would to keep friends, personally, at this point, who just don't give a shit about doing the wrong thing. So that's where I'm at right now with it. I wanted to explain that because I know a lot of people are confused, thinking I've burned out and, worried about me. And the furthest thing, I have never been better and never been more clear and feeling extremely good about this approach and calling it what it is, a Holocaust. It is a Holocaust. Call it what it is. It is rape. It is murder. It is torture. Call it what it is so people understand with words that they understand the severity of the situation. And that's about all I have to say about it. I will continue just doing what I'm doing, and this, as I go, I evolve and I grow and I change, and certain things that I have said before about don't blame and shame, inform and explain will evolve too. Now I'm saying that's one approach, here's another. Both work, and I always said both worked actually. I always supported people who would shame fur wearers, for example. But now I'm saying that was something I wouldn't do before. Now it's something I think is extremely important. And so that's it. That's basically it. Added a tool to my toolbox and seeing good results, and I think it's very important, and I think it will shake people up out of their complacency. So that's just my update. I hope you're all doing well. I thank every single one of you for speaking up for the victims, and I encourage you to speak up for the victims the way that you would want to be spoken for if it was you in their situation. Really think about how that would be. My guess is most of you would want someone screaming and breaking down the doors for you. So get as close to that as you can. And that's it. Best wishes to everyone. Thanks for watching. Peace.